AB Middle East and Africas, the R12 Cotabato, R8 Eastern Samar in Leyte, and R11 Davao de Oro, and R4A in Gen Nacar, Quezon. So later, when we're able to process the files, in fact, we are processing right now. In our next update, we'll be able to show you that data ho. We'd like to update you also into what's happening in our command center. We will be ramping up very soon because dumadami na ho yung ERs na dumadating. As I speak, we already have 11,860 ERs in-house. 11,860 ERs in-house. That's equivalent to 12.71% of all of the ERs. And we're very grateful to our coordinators. Hindi ho madaling kumuha ng ERs, mag-collect ng ERs. And in fact, some of them were able to get 100% of all the ERs in their diocese. Just today, another group from Laguna came in, San Pablo, Laguna. They were able to get 96% of the ERs from their province. Heroic ho, because it's a major effort to do that. So we're very, very grateful to them. So now that we have more ERs coming in, we'd like to call for volunteers already because we're being very careful about the number of volunteers we call until we have until we have a good critical mass of ERs. We already have critical mass because we already have 12% in-house and more coming in today through our couriers. So nananawagan ho kami, if you want to volunteer, please come here to the PPCRV Command Center. It's on the second floor of PLDT Sampaloc, España Corner, Macaraig Street. Please come here. This audit is very important because we will actually check the integrity of the transmitted vote. What we are going to do is we are going to compare the manual printout that comes directly from the machine, and each printout of that's called the ER from the machine is equivalent to the votes of one precinct. So with every ER that we get, we are getting the votes from one whole precinct. No? The manual, the printed one, the printed ER is what's being brought here. We scan that and then we compare it to the transmitted ER of the same precinct. Now, where do we get the data of the transmitted ER? We get that from our transparency server because we were awarded by COMELEC, one of the 5 transparency servers. So, diretso hong nagtatransmit ang vote automated counting machines sa amin. So, kino-compare namin yung straight na physical ER from the machine and the one that's transmitted. In the ideal world, dapat pareho sila. And we're hoping that they are the same for clean, honest, accurate, meaningful, and peaceful elections. So I'll be back with the actual update over here. COMELEC is already at over 99%. We are at, if we're able to process everything that was sent to us, we are at 97.38, a very small difference of 1.7% between what they see and what they see. Because nagbabato yun ng data yung vote counting machines. So nauunang MBOC, sumusunod yun COMELEC, tapos yun 5 servers na. So we are waiting for the rest of the data to come to us. Okay lang naman, sequential naman ho magpadala ang mga vote counting machines, automated counting machines.
Yeah, you're calling for volunteers. How many
Yes.
volunteers that we have?
Yes.
How many volunteers that you need? And to cover all for your...
At any given time, we have 185 stations, meaning we can have 185 volunteers, but we can actually ramp that up if needed to as much as 240 volunteers. Marami hong nagre-respond, but of course it's a long day, and it's not easy. Verifying can be not naman exhausting, but you need to rest once in a while. So we really need volunteers to come in. Very important ho. This is a very important. All elections are important. So let's please come if we want to volunteer. I also would like to say that our voter turnout was very good. We estimate voter turnout to be 80.27, and very soon I will post the regional voter turnout so you can see very high turnout in the especially in the southern regions. No, Mindanao, ang taas niya ang turnout niya. I think that's very important to note because in 2022, which was a presidential election, a national and local presidential election, voter turnout was around 83%. This is a midterm election. Usually, voter turnout is not, naglalayo siya from the presidential election. But this time, we had 80.27 voters turning up. And nakita ho rin namin yan kasi ang haba-haba ng pila, maaga pa lang, 7 in the morning, nationwide on the picture. So I think that means that people are really excited, and good naman that they're very excited and very passionate about their choices for this election. So we'll be back with with actually the vote count update because it's still being processed right now. Yes?
Ma'am, kung how many volunteers nyo ng previous election, ma'am? 600,000 ba?
In the last election, we had 350,000 out in the field in the polling centers. 350,000 rin ho ngayon. But in the command center, in 2022, we had 64,000 volunteers. So ipagdagdag mo yon, so we had roundabouts 412,000 volunteers in 2022. So we're hoping na ma-match ho namin yan. Critical ho yung audit, so please be part of it. Please join us.
Ma'am, when do you expect po na dadating yung ERs from Visayas and Mindanao?
Our couriers called up, but there are some already on the way here, so we're expecting them to arrive. We are starting to expect, ngayon kasi it's mostly NCR NCR Luzon. We're expecting some couriers to be arriving from the Visayas, like Cebu. They were in transit since yesterday, so we're expecting that Cebu will arrive today and some other areas from the Visayas also.
Ma'am,
Yes.
just to clarify, you mentioned earlier, for our reader's sake, you mentioned earlier that there was like 12 point something percent of
ERs, yes.
physical ERs that are being tallied. So how different is that from the one that we're seeing on the screen here?
What you are seeing here are transmitted votes. That's transmitted from the automated counting machine. Now, when anything is being transmitted, that is when it's most vulnerable. So the transmitted vote is most vulnerable to manipulation while it's out there being transmitted to its destination. So it's very important to find out is what comes out of the machine that we see in the ERs, because we know that's derecho from the machine. Is that exactly the same as what's coming out here? That's what we audit. That's what we've been auditing every election since 2010.
There are any challenges in transporting the physical ER from your command center from the provinces?
Yes.
What are the challenges?
Yes. First of all, it's a challenge sometimes collecting the ER. Sometimes PPCRV, according to the general instructions for the elections, should be getting the third pre-transmission ER. So before transmission, they print 9. The third one is supposed to be PPCRVs. We already got reports that sometimes those ERs are not being given to us. Yeah, that's why we can never get 100% of the ERs. The other challenges are logistic. Like, I think you saw a while ago, the San Pablo delegation, headed by their parish priest, was here. They traveled 3 hours to come here. And yesterday, Malolos, heavy rain, despite heavy rain, they traveled another 2 hours to get here. So there are challenges in gathering and logistical challenges in getting here, especially in Maguindanao, because this is just to show you how heroic the volunteers are. In Maguindanao, you have to traverse all kinds of terrain to get to your polling center. So from their residences, they will forge streams, as in, parang 4x4 na nakikita mo in Marlborough country. They will forge streams, riding sometimes a horse. And then after that, there are areas, rocky terrain, where they cannot do anything except to walk. So they will walk naman. Some of our volunteers have been known to cross ravines using yung parang Tarzan. What do you call that? They cross ravines. So very heroic ko yung ginagawa nila. To get those ERs here, they have to cross those paths also to get here. So I'm taking this chance to say thank you to every single volunteer. I mean, you're doing heroic service. You are rendering heroic service to the country, especially since they have no expectation naman of anything. This is just really all service.
Maminiscan nyo ba yung QR codes from the printed?
Yes. When we get the ER, dumadating na dito in ER, we have 12,000 already here in-house. No, we have 11,860 here in-house at the moment. What we do is when that comes here, we scan it. Kasi bagong feature yan ng ER. Noon wala siyang QR code. No, walang QR code, nag-encode kami. We would encode all the national positions. So you see people are typing. Now, no more need kasi may QR code na yun machine. So we scan that. And what is scanned is compared naman to what is transmitted. They should be the same ho.
Were you able to experience any different for the information from the scan and from your transmitted?
For now, we're still ramping up, so we're not yet verifying. What we're doing now is we're scanning everything before we start verifying. In the past elections, there were some differences. There were some differences, not major differences. There was... Hindi, galing ko dito. That's okay, no problem. In the last elections, there were some differences. Like, I remember the first automated election, I think we had around 63 issues that we saw. Most of them were explainable technically. Like, for example, na nagkaiba because na-feed yung ballot twice, so dalawang beses na count. Or sometimes ang pinapadala was not the actual. Minsan kasi we're thinking, bakit ang baba ng count? Hindi yun napadala yung actual ER, yun napadala, yung ER generated during the FTS, the final testing and sealing, wherein they're testing only 10 people. So always explainable. So we hope that the same issue, that we don't have any issues in this election. That is, after all, our hope that it should all be the same.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Ang dami pang tanong, ma'am. Ang daming tanong.
Okay lang, better right. We were asking which barangays at submitted by NCR yesterday. Okay. It's not that they didn't transmit, but chine-check pa, chine-verify pa. At least barangays, may tanong ka ba?
Hindi na po mga
Hindi na ganun.
Thank you, ma'am. So, yung next update na para alam lang po namin.
Okay.
Mga what time yung gusto, ma'am?
Wow, how long will they take to process that? Siguro kaya. Siguro mga 1:30. Okay po, para we can eat first.
Thank you, ma'am.